Human mechanic reclaims abandoned alien starship. Galaxy-shaking consequences follow. Jax Calder had seen a lot in his life, but nothing like the starship drifting silently on the edge of the Epsilon Gamma system. He leaned back in his rusted hovercraft, shielding his eyes from the twin suns. The ship wasn't supposed to be here. No human vessel, no alien vessel anyone had ever reported, and certainly nothing of this size and elegance. It was enormous, sleek, and unlike anything he had ever repaired or salvaged. He had spent most of his life among broken machines. Jax had a gift, a strange knack for fixing things no one else could. Ships, engines, robots, anything mechanical. He could understand it intuitively. But this was different. This wasn't just technology. It almost felt alive. The ship's hull shimmered as if it could sense him. Jax's fingers itched. Curiosity outweighed caution. He fired up his hovercraft and floated closer, his heart racing. His eyes scanned every inch of the massive alien vessel. The surface was smooth, like liquid metal, but there were patterns etched into it, glyphs and lines that pulsed faintly with light. They seemed to move, like the ship was breathing. Jax landed his craft on a plateau of jagged metal debris floating in orbit, remnants of an old battle no one remembered. The ship was mostly intact, except for a few scorch marks that hinted at violence. As he approached, he felt the familiar thrill of discovery, the kind that made him forget danger, forget rules, forget everything but the challenge. He reached the main hatch. There was no handle, no keypad, nothing he could push or press, just the glyphs. Jax frowned. Of course, he muttered. Nothing normal. He ran his hand along the symbols, feeling the faint hum beneath his fingertips. Then, almost instinctively, he pressed a combination of symbols the way he imagined the machine might want. The surface rippled like water, and the hatch slid open silently. Inside, darkness. The smell of ancient metal and vacuum lingered. Jax activated his flashlight, and the interior glowed with soft blue light. It was massive. Corridors twisted in impossible ways, smooth curves and angles that no human architect could design. The air was thin, almost alive, carrying a faint vibration that hummed in his chest. "This is insane," he whispered. He began exploring, tools at his belt, scanning panels, touching controls. Nothing reacted, at least not at first. Then he noticed the core room. It pulsed with light like a beating heart, veins of energy running along the walls and floor. A large spherical object floated in the center, suspended by light itself. Jax's mind raced. This is a power source. Something massive. He could feel it calling to him, almost like it recognized him. His instincts screamed that this was dangerous, but he couldn't resist. He approached the sphere. Symbols floated above it, rotating, glowing. Jax reached out, and the moment his fingers brushed the surface, the glyphs exploded in light. The ship shuddered. Alarms, or what passed for alarms, sounded in waves of vibrating hum. "Whoa!" Jax stumbled back. The ship's AI, if it could be called that, was waking. A voice echoed in his mind. Not a sound, but a thought, clear and precise. Intruder detected. Identity unknown. Purpose uncertain. Jax froze. He had dealt with rogue AIs before, but nothing like this. He raised his hands. "I'm human. I'm not here to..." Human. Intrusion acknowledged. Evaluation commencing. The floor beneath him shifted. Panels moved as if alive. Holographic projections appeared, floating in midair, showing star systems he had never seen. The ship's eyes, if they existed, were watching him. And somehow, it wasn't hostile. Not exactly. Jax swallowed. "Okay, evaluation. Got it. Let's see what we can do." For hours he worked. The ship was complex beyond imagination, but Jax had a gift. He could think like the machine. He traced circuits, aligned energy conduits, pressed and rotated alien interfaces in ways that shouldn't have worked. But somehow, they did. The AI spoke again, testing him. Adaptation detected. Creativity level, unusual. Probability of survival, low. Jax smirked. I survive. By nightfall, he had activated something fundamental. The ship's engines. It was alive. Not just power, not just AI. It was a sentinel, a relic of a civilization long gone, and it had chosen to wake with him. Suddenly, lights flared across the hull. Energy surged in impossible arcs, and the ship rose slowly into orbit. Jax's heart pounded as he realized the implications. He hadn't just found a ship, he had found a weapon, a vessel of power beyond anything humanity had ever dreamed. Then came the danger. Sensors aboard the ship, some automated system, pinged incoming objects. Not human, alien. Massive warships emerged from the shadows of nearby nebulae. They had seen the activation, and they were moving fast. Great, Jax muttered, strapping himself in. They just can't leave me alone, can they? The ship reacted before he could even touch controls. It twisted, folded space, and accelerated at impossible speed. Jax gripped the console, laughing and screaming at the same time. The AI spoke again, this time almost approvingly. Human. You survive by improvisation. Interesting. Tactical potential high. Jax didn't know whether to be thrilled or terrified. He had no idea what these aliens wanted or how powerful they were. But he did know one thing. The galaxy had just noticed him. Humanity had just been thrown into the deep end. He ran simulations in his mind, tried to think like a soldier, like a pilot, like a mechanic. He realized the ship responded to his thoughts, to his touch, to his instincts. It was learning him, as much as he was learning it, and together they might just survive the fleet hunting them. Hours passed. The warships followed, but the alien vessel was unlike anything they expected. Jax had no weapons knowledge, no strategy manuals, only intuition and courage. And somehow the ship moved in ways no human or alien mind could anticipate, dodging attacks and weaving through asteroid fields with deadly precision. Finally, the battlefront was behind them. They entered uncharted space. Jax leaned back, breathing heavily, feeling both exhilarated and exhausted. The AI's voice, calm now, spoke again. Evaluation complete. Human, capable. Potential, acknowledged. Further interaction, recommended. Jax laughed. Well, I guess we're partners now, huh? The ship hummed as if agreeing. Its lights pulsed softly. Jax stared out at the stars, the galaxy stretching endlessly before him. He had no map, no plan, no allies. And yet, he had something even greater. A living starship, and the uncanny knowledge that humanity's place in the galaxy was about to change forever. And somewhere, far beyond human space, something ancient had noticed the surge of energy. The galaxy's balance was shifting, and old powers began to stir. Jax didn't know it yet, but he had set in motion events that would shake civilizations, awaken forgotten terrors, and challenge the very idea of what humans could do, all because a mechanic had decided to follow curiosity instead of caution. For the first time in his life, Jax felt something he had never felt before. The weight of destiny, and the thrill of knowing he might just be able to survive it. The stars stretched on endlessly, and the adventure, his adventure, had only just begun. Jax Calder had thought he knew what danger was. He had been chased by smugglers, pirates, and even rogue AIs on derelict mining ships, but nothing compared to the alien armada now closing in on him. The warships fired again. Each blast struck empty space, bouncing off shields or passing through thin layers of reality that Jax had accidentally opened. The AI murmured quietly in his mind. Your creativity is... Unique, unpredictable. Survival odds, 72%. Jack swallowed. I like those odds. I make 'em better. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt wrong in hyperspace. Jax was exhausted but exhilarated. He had learned to think like the ship, to anticipate its rhythms and movements. He adjusted its energy conduits with hand tools he had carried along. Yes, tools designed for rusted human engines, now making impossible adjustments to alien technology that had been dormant for centuries. And somehow, it worked. Jax took a deep breath and studied the stars ahead. Somewhere deep in the void, he spotted a tiny flicker, a probe ship. It darted forward, scanning. He realized with a sinking feeling that the aliens weren't chasing him for curiosity. They wanted the ship back. They wanted control. They wanted whatever power he had just awakened. "All right," he muttered. "We're not just running anymore. We're going to fight. Your way, my way." He rerouted power to the ship's outer hull, twisting it slightly, creating strange distortions in space around them. Alien weapons hit and fizzled. The ship swerved, caught off guard. Jax grinned. "This is amazing," he shouted, even as his heart pounded. "I'm actually doing it." Then came the signal. A deep reverberating hum from the ship's core. The AI was speaking again, but not just thoughts this time. Holographic projections appeared in front of him, showing star systems he had never seen. He could feel the vastness of the galaxy in a way that terrified him. Human. Observation. You are capable of unexpected solutions. New protocol. Integration. Your input required. "What do you mean integration?" Jax asked. "Combine your human intuition with ship systems. Accelerate adaptation. Survival depends on cooperation." Jax realized then that he wasn't just piloting the ship. He was merging his mind with it. Every instinct, every intuition, every mechanical solution he devised, the ship absorbed and enhanced. He could feel energy flows, power pulses, shields expanding, engines bending reality. It was overwhelming and addictive. The first wave of alien ships began to break formation. Confusion spread. Some retreated, unsure of how to respond. Others tried direct assault, but Jax had begun to anticipate their moves. The alien armada was powerful but rigid. Humans, he realized, thrived in chaos. HFY moment. Jax laughed aloud. "You guys think you can control me? You don't even understand what humans can do." The AI pulsed in response. Assessment. Human ingenuity, unprecedented. Tactical advantage, increasing. Probability of long-term survival, improving. For the first time, the alien starship didn't feel alien to him. It felt like a partner. Together they danced through asteroid belts, twisted through gravity wells, and outmaneuvered ships that should have destroyed them easily. Every time Jax improvised, every time he used a human tool or instinct, the AI adapted, learning in ways that made the aliens' technology seem slow and predictable. Then came the first serious strike. A massive alien warship fired a beam strong enough to rip through planets. The pulse tore through space, and for a second, Jax felt panic, but he remembered the AI's words, "Combine intuition with ship systems." He twisted a series of alien conduits, creating a feedback loop. Energy surged through the hull, bending the beam around them. The alien ship recoiled, its weapons backfiring slightly. Jax's grin was uncontrollable. "Humans," he muttered to himself. "We're messy, we're crazy, and apparently, we're unstoppable." The alien fleet began to communicate. Jax couldn't understand the language, but he could see the desperation in their formations. They were trying to trap him, to predict him, to force him into surrender. He didn't just evade. He forced them to chase shadows, to fire blindly, to exhaust themselves. Hours, or maybe days, blurred into a strange rhythm of flight, combat, and improvisation. Jax had no plan beyond surviving, but that was enough. Humans didn't need perfect plans. Humans had intuition. Humans had courage. And humans, apparently, had the ability to merge with ancient alien technology and bend the impossible to their will. As he flew deeper into uncharted space, Jax began to notice patterns. The alien ships were organized, but limited. They couldn't adapt like he could. And the AI, now fully aware of his capabilities, began to open systems he hadn't yet discovered. Weapons, shields, navigation, all waiting for him to figure them out. Then, the AI spoke with something almost resembling excitement. Human. Potential. Maximum observed. Protocol. Further evaluation. Critical. "What now?" Jax asked aloud, gripping the controls. "You will face the trial. It is a test left by the creators of this vessel. Only the worthy may command fully." Jax felt a chill. Trial. Worthy. He didn't know what that meant, but he knew one thing. The galaxy had just become infinitely more dangerous. And if he failed, the consequences wouldn't be just his own. They would ripple across stars. He looked out at the endless dark, the alien ships now behind him retreating for the moment. The universe was wide, infinite, and filled with dangers no human had ever imagined. And he was in the center of it all, a single mechanic in a ship alive with ancient intelligence, about to face challenges that would decide not just his fate, but humanity's place in the stars. Jax took a deep breath and muttered, almost to himself, "Well, let's see what humans can do." And with that, the alien starship accelerated, diving into unknown sectors of the galaxy toward a trial that had waited for centuries, and toward a destiny that no human could have imagined. The alien starship hummed with anticipation as Jax Calder guided it through a rippling corridor of space. Stars bent and shimmered around them, like a hall of mirrors stretched across the galaxy. The AI's voice filled his mind, calm but insistent. Destination approaching. Trial parameters online. Human, prepare for evaluation. Jax's stomach tightened. Evaluation? You mean test. Correct. Only the worthy may command fully. Only the worthy may wield this power without disaster. Jax swallowed. He had fought aliens, outsmarted fleets, and twisted technology beyond its design. But this was different. This was a trial of mind, body, and instinct. Failure was not an option. He didn't just fly the ship, he represented humanity. The stars shifted. A swirling vortex appeared ahead, vast and alive with energy. The ship entered it, space bent and twisted. Stars became streaks of light. Jax felt a pull, a sensation that made him giddy and terrified at the same time. When the ship emerged, he found himself above a massive structure floating in the void. It was a colossal arena, a ring of metal and crystal, spinning slowly, with glowing panels of alien language floating in midair. The architecture was impossible, defying gravity, geometry, and logic. "This is it," Jax whispered. "The trial zone, created by the ancients who built this vessel. Only the worthy may leave with full command. Your skills, decisions, and creativity will be tested." Jax's hands gripped the controls. The AI pulsed lightly, a signal of readiness. The arena reacted immediately. Holographic obstacles appeared. Giant energy barriers rose without warning. Mechanical drones, some the size of ships, others as small as human fists, attacked in coordinated patterns. Jax realized quickly that this trial would test everything he knew. He leaned forward, scanning. The drones moved predictably if you watched carefully, but the barriers shifted faster than his eyes could track. Jax had to rely on instinct and improvisation. He rerouted the ship's power to energy pulses that temporarily neutralized the drones. Then, with a careful twist of a manual interface, he altered the shield's frequency, allowing the ship to slip through barriers that seemed unpassable. "HFY moment," the AI spoke, almost admiringly. Human intuition, superior to algorithmic prediction. Tactical advantage, increasing. Jax smirked. Of course it is. We're humans. Hours, or maybe minutes. Time was meaningless here. Passed. The arena intensified. Holographic landscapes became real obstacles. Mountains of alien crystals sprouted from nothing, collapsing into rivers of energy. The ship's AI helped him where it could, but it left the difficult choices to him. Every decision, every rerouted system, every bold improvisation was tested. Then came the puzzle of the energy gates. Massive rings floated ahead, each emitting a different light. Symbols danced across their surfaces, and each represented a test. The AI explained briefly, "Incorrect sequence triggers containment. Only correct choices allow passage." Jack studied the symbols. Nothing resembled human logic. But he noticed patterns. Shapes repeated. Colors pulsed with a rhythm. Using intuition, experience, and a mechanical mind tuned to improvisation, he pressed panels in a sequence that no one could predict. The gates responded, sliding open with a whoosh. He breathed heavily, the thrill of victory mixing with fear. The trial was relentless, unyielding. And yet, with each obstacle, Jax discovered something about himself. Humans were unpredictable, adaptive, and fearless in ways the ancients had never anticipated. Next came the arena's combat phase. Giant alien constructs, some hundreds of feet tall, emerged from shimmering portals. They attacked in waves, firing energy beams, swinging colossal arms, and releasing swarms of smaller drones. Jax didn't panic. He studied them. Every construct had a rhythm. Every beam had a timing flaw. Using the ship's systems, rerouted in ways the AI hadn't tried, he dodged, blocked, and even redirected attacks back toward the constructs. Each move was a mix of human improvisation and alien technology. HFY moment. Observation, human creativity, extreme. Unanticipated solutions, effective. Probability of success, increasing. Jax laughed aloud. I love it when the machine notices me. Hours or eons, he wasn't sure, passed as the trial continued. Jax learned to anticipate, to improvise, to merge human creativity with the alien ship's latent power. Every obstacle pushed him to the limit, but every success strengthened the bond between human and Starship. Then came the final test. A massive holographic projection appeared in front of him. It was the image of a world, spinning silently in space. Energy lines radiated from it, connecting it to other planets and systems. Human, the AI said, its voice grave. This is a simulation. You must protect the system from annihilation using only the resources available. Your ingenuity will determine outcome. Jax's mind raced. He didn't know the rules, didn't know the limits. But he understood one thing. Improvisation, intuition, and courage were his weapons. He rerouted energy across the system, creating defensive shields, rerouted power to neutralize simulated asteroid strikes, and used alien technology in ways the simulation never anticipated. Each move was risky, but human intuition guided him. Slowly, the simulation stabilized. The planets glowed safely in the hologram. Assessment: human, worthy. Integration: complete. Jax leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. He had passed the trial, not because he understood the alien technology fully, but because he had applied human ingenuity in ways the ancients could not foresee. Then a voice echoed across the arena, deeper than the AI's voice, filled with power and authority. Human, you have exceeded expectations. Your species is capable. The galaxy will take notice. Jax's heart raced. He realized then that the trial was not just for him. It was for humanity. By surviving, by improvising, by merging human intuition with ancient technology, he had shown that humans were not weak, not primitive. not to be ignored. HFY moment. For the first time, Jax felt the weight of his species' potential. Humans were adaptable, fearless, and unpredictable. That unpredictability, the ability to improvise and survive, was the edge that no machine, no alien, no civilization could fully anticipate. But there was no time to rest. The arena began to dissolve around him, collapsing into energy streams that threatened to pull the ship apart. The AI guided him through the chaos. Jax made split-second decisions, rerouting power, stabilizing systems, and finally, with a final twist of his tools, they emerged intact into open space. He looked out at the stars. The alien armada that had been pursuing him was nowhere in sight. They would regroup, he knew, but for now, humanity had survived. And Jax had proven something to the galaxy. Humans were not to be underestimated. The AI spoke again, softer this time, almost warmly. Human integration complete. You may now command fully. Your species acknowledged. Jax smiled, leaning back in the pilot chair. He had done it. He had faced impossible odds, survived unimaginable trials, and demonstrated the power of human ingenuity. The galaxy had taken notice, and he was ready for whatever came next. Somewhere far beyond the stars, hidden observers stirred. Ancient civilizations, alien fleets, and cosmic entities had detected the activation of the trial and the human survival. Jax had set events in motion that would echo across star systems. The galaxy had changed, and humans were now a force it could no longer ignore. Jax Calder, a simple mechanic from an insignificant star system, had not just reclaimed a starship, he had reclaimed humanity's place among the stars. And yet, he knew the adventure was far from over. The galaxy was watching. Challenges awaited. And somewhere, danger was coming that would test not just him, but everything humanity had become. He gripped the controls and whispered, almost to himself, "Let's see what the humans can do next." The alien starship hummed in agreement, alive and ready, and together, human and machine plunged into the unknown, toward a future only they could shape. The galaxy was watching. Jax Calder felt it in every vibration of the alien starship beneath him. The AI's voice was calm, almost reverent. "Human, signals indicate multiple civilizations have detected your trial. They are observing, evaluating." Jax leaned forward, gripping the controls. He had faced impossible odds, outsmarted alien fleets, and survived trials meant for the ancients. But this was different. Now the galaxy itself was a stage, and humanity's fate was on the line. "Great," Jax muttered. "So now I have to impress everyone." "No pressure," the AI hummed, pulsing in agreement. "You are capable. Survival probability high. Tactical advantage unprecedented. Your species may now claim its place." Jax couldn't help but grin. Humans had never been predictable. That was their greatest weapon, and the galaxy was about to learn it. The first threat arrived without warning. A massive alien armada, faster and more powerful than any he had faced before, emerged from hyperspace. Warships filled the void, each one a floating fortress armed with weapons capable of tearing planets apart. Their sensors locked onto him immediately. "They're here," Jax muttered. "They intend to reclaim the vessel," the AI said. "They perceive threat. They do not understand. You must act decisively." Jax's mind raced. He didn't have armies, fleets, or powerful weapons. What he had was human ingenuity, and a ship alive with ancient power that responded to his instincts. The first salvo hit. Energy beams tore through space, passing dangerously close to the ship. Jax twisted a panel, rerouted power, and the hull shimmered, bending the beams around them. The enemy warships fired again, but every attack met empty space. Jax had learned to use unpredictability as a weapon. "Let's see how they like this," he said. activating a series of energy pulses he had improvised during the trial. Pulses struck in chaotic patterns, scattering enemy sensors and causing their formations to break. The alien commanders were caught off guard. HFY moment. Observation. Human unpredictability. Unmatched. Tactical superiority emergent. Probability of victory. Improving. Jax grinned. Humans were messy, improvisational, fearless. And that fearlessness, the willingness to act boldly without a plan, was his greatest advantage. He guided the Starship through a series of maneuvers no conventional pilot could execute. He weaved between asteroid fields, slipped through gravity wells, and used the ship's ancient systems in ways the aliens could not anticipate. Energy shields pulsed, weapons charged automatically, and the AI adapted instantly to his commands. Together, they became a force no one had ever imagined. Then came the counterattack. The lead warship fired a beam so powerful it could destroy moons. Jax's heart pounded. He had one chance. Using every tool, lever, and panel, he redirected the ship's energy to create a feedback loop. The beam struck, then deflected harmlessly into the void, ricocheting off space debris and blinding sensors. The alien armada recoiled, confused and shaken. Humans, Jax muttered, laughing despite the danger. We're full of surprises. The AI pulsed excitedly. Assessment, human ingenuity, extraordinary, integration complete. Tactical command, successful. But the armada was not defeated. More ships arrived from the shadows of nearby systems. Alien commanders had realized that conventional attacks were useless. They began using coordinated strategies, trying to trap him in crossfire. Jax thought quickly. He wasn't a soldier, but he was a mechanic. He used that perspective to improvise. He rerouted power to create decoy energy signatures, making the ship appear in multiple locations at once. He sent out pulses that disrupted enemy sensors and guided the AI to open portals in space-time, slipping between dimensions briefly to evade capture. The aliens fired blindly, hitting nothing. Jax laughed again. It was exhilarating, terrifying, and magnificent all at once. Humans were unpredictable. Humans adapted, and humans survived. Then came the final test, the greatest threat of all. A massive construct, older than any star system, emerged from hyperspace. It was enormous, bigger than a planet, armed with weapons designed to annihilate fleets. The alien armada didn't command it. It obeyed it. Its energy pulsed with authority, and Jax could feel the weight of its intelligence, ancient and immense. "This is it," he whispered. "This is the one." The AI spoke quietly. "Human, this is the ultimate challenge. Your species' survival, dependent on ingenuity, courage, and adaptability." The alien AI, once cautious, now pulsed with respect. "Human, your species, worthy. Galactic integration, permitted." Jax smiled. "Guess humans aren't so small after all." He guided the ship through the void, toward new star systems, new challenges, and a future where humanity would define its own destiny. The galaxy was vast, mysterious, and dangerous, but it was also full of opportunity. For the first time, Jax realized the truth. Humans were not meant to survive by following rules, fitting into expectations, or avoiding risk. Humans thrived on improvisation, courage, and determination, and that made them a force no one could ignore. The stars stretched endlessly before him, full of wonder, danger, and promise. Jax's adventure was far from over. The galaxy had been shaken, and humanity had claimed its place among the stars, not with brute force, but with creativity, bravery, and heart. And somewhere deep in the cosmos, ancient civilizations whispered of the human who had awakened the Starship, outsmarted fleets, and survived trials meant for gods the galaxy would never forget. Jax leaned back, relaxed for the first time in days, and whispered to the AI, "Let's see how far we can go." The ship hummed, alive and ready. Together, human and machine soared into the stars. Humanity had arrived. Even at impossible speed, the sleek alien starship groaned under the strain of its ancient systems. It seemed alive, almost nervous, as if sensing the swarm of warships tracking them through the black void. Jax gripped the controls with sweaty hands. He didn't know what buttons did what, and half of the ship's systems were beyond human understanding. Still, he was a mechanic, and instinct had always been his strongest tool. He twisted levers, pressed glowing panels, and rerouted power in ways that probably made no sense to anyone. But somehow, the ship responded. "Okay," he muttered, leaning close to a pulsing console. "Let's see if we can confuse them a little." The ship obeyed, folding its hull slightly, twisting in a way that bent light around it. One of the pursuing alien destroyers fired a pulse. The energy struck the space where the ship had been a second ago, and missed. Jax laughed, a short, sharp sound that echoed in the cockpit. "They don't know what they're chasing." The AI spoke then, its voice calm, analytical, and for the first time slightly approving. Human improvisation detected. Probability of evasion increasing. Tactical potential confirmed. Jax smirked. "Glad you noticed." He had never considered himself a soldier. He wasn't trained for combat in any formal sense. But he knew machines. And this ship, alive or not, responded to humans. Every creative move, every unorthodox adjustment gave him an edge. The aliens weren't giving up. Another wave of ships appeared from behind a nearby asteroid belt. They moved in formation, like predators honing in on prey. Jax could see the difference in their strategy. They were organized, coordinated, but predictable. That predictability was his weapon. He began improvising, routing power through systems the AI hadn't activated yet. He opened doors on the ship's hull mid-flight, letting energy pulse in patterns the aliens didn't anticipate. Jax's mind raced. There was no plan. There were no instructions. Only instinct, human creativity, and the living ship responding to his commands. He studied the construct. It had patterns, energy surges, predictable rotations, timing flaws. He improvised a strategy. Using the ship's full power, he opened energy conduits, redirected pulses, and created unpredictable feedback loops. The construct's attacks hit empty space, ricocheting harmlessly. HFY moment. Jax realized the truth. The ancients, the AI, the galaxy itself, they had underestimated humanity. Humans were chaotic, fearless, adaptable, and unpredictable. That unpredictability, the ability to act without perfect knowledge, was a weapon no one else possessed. He pressed forward, weaving through attacks, exploiting flaws, and using every ounce of the ship's systems in ways even the AI hadn't anticipated. Slowly, the massive construct faltered. Its energy flickered, systems overloaded, and with a final pulse from Jax's ingenuity, it collapsed into harmless particles. The alien armada stopped, they observed silently. The humans had survived the impossible. One man, a mechanic from a forgotten star system, had faced the galaxy's greatest challenges, and won. Human, extraordinary. "Recognition granted," the AI said. Jax leaned back, exhausted but triumphant. He looked out at the stars. The galaxy had changed. Humans were no longer insignificant. The Armada, ancient civilizations, and unseen observers all knew that a new power had emerged, one that could not be controlled, predicted, or defeated easily. HFY ending. Jax Calder, a simple human mechanic, had reclaimed an abandoned alien starship. He had faced impossible trials, outwitted fleets, and survived the ultimate test of ingenuity and courage. Humanity had been noticed, not through conquest, but through creativity, fearlessness, and the power of adaptation.